who's out there? Well, lots and lots of old friends, long-time Othona members and regulars. It's delightful to see you and have you with us this afternoon. But I think there are also some people who are brand new to the corona immunity. I mean, the Othona community. Wouldn't it be nice? Corona immunity. One day there'll be vaccine, but not yet. We do want to invite you all. You don't need to rush away at the end, because when we finish, we're going to stay online. We're going to have a cup of tea ourselves and have a chance to chat with a few of you, anybody who wants to carry on and chat for a bit. So we'll do that then. But let's begin now. Kate, would you light the candle in our circle of friends, please?
So some opening words. One of the books that we often turn to when we're in chapel is by someone called John Philip Newell, who was once the warden at the Iona community. And there's a lovely book, Praying with the Earth. And these opening words are adapted from one of his in that book. As we come towards the close of day, as business fades and footsteps soften, we open again the inner door of our being to enter stillness, to feel our way to you, the silence from whom we are born, the name before names were spoken, the love of life's beginnings. Towards the close of day, we come.
We're going to sing in a moment. I don't know if some of you at home have got a candle that you want to light as well, now that Kate's lit the candle here in our circle of friends. This might be a good moment to do it if you do want to. And these words were in the newsletter I sent out this morning. Some of you will have seen that, some of you probably not. It's a setting of a very short verse by Lem Cisse. You can join in at home. We won't hear you, and you won't be on the recording because there would be a time lag, so it would all be rather odd. But please feel free to join in if you want to. We'll sing it 3 or 4 times through. The words, how do you do it, said night. How do you wake and shine? I keep it simple, said light, one day at a time. How do you do it, said night? How do you wake and shine? I keep it simple, said light, one day at a time. How do you do it, said night? How do you wake and shine? I keep it simple, said light, one day at a time. How do you do it, said night? How do you wake and shine? I keep it simple, said light, one day at a time. How do you do it, said light? How do you wake and shine? I keep it simple, said light, one day at a time. Did you catch a bit of research today, just been published today? Interesting, limited survey of about 2,000 people. But what it says is that loads more people in this current situation say that they are praying, and quite a lot more people actually doing what you've done today, tuning in, either listening or watching some kind of religious service or practice on TV or radio or through their computers. And really interestingly, what was the highest percentage group who said that they were praying? It was the 18 to 24-year-olds. And who's tuning in to religious services most? It's men, not women, apparently. Now, you may be surprised by that research, but that's what it says. We are in different times, and it's going to be really interesting finding out how people are responding to that. It's a celebratory time, isn't it? We're in the season of Easter for Christians. It's the holy month of Ramadan for Muslims. For Celts and pagans and Druids and lots of other people, the beginning of May brings Beltane, celebrating the fertility of the land. And there's plenty to celebrate for us here. The five of us realize how immensely privileged we are where we find ourselves relatively isolated, not only in the surroundings we have, but also the fact that we've got each other, and we're not really isolating in that sense. Our sadness, of course, is that we have no idea at the moment how soon it'll be before this community is able to welcome anybody again for a holiday or a retreat. The only overnight residents that we're able to welcome at the moment are the swallows, who returned just in the last week or two, checking out whether they want to use last year's nest or build a new one. We have no idea. And in that way, we share in lots of people's uncertainty about the future. I wonder what it is that you've been most heartened by and most thankful for in these past few weeks. Myself, one of the things I've tried to do is imagine how this would have been if it had happened 25 years ago, or even 15 years ago. There is so more that we can now do remotely and on a big scale. The amazing flowering of online lessons and activities for children and young people, for instance. And there are the big scale gestures that we've been able to join in all over the country. Clapping for carers, and the minute's silence for those among them who've died. For a little organization like this, well, regular news to a couple of thousand people would have been totally impossible in the way we have been doing it if we'd encountered coronavirus a few years back. And not only news from us, but of course hearing from those people as well. And suddenly, pretty well everybody seems to believe in community, which is great. For those of us who've been banging on about it for years, we can only applaud that and just hope that it's not forgotten once the current circumstances have changed. Of course, there is plenty that's going on that also chills the heart and troubles the mind. There are the personal griefs, families separated, vulnerable people very isolated, friends lost to COVID-19. There are businesses and charities going to the wall, and jobs lost, and vital services really struggling to carry on. I could be more political about the things that we suddenly seem to be able to afford to do, that we can find the money for now, but we were always told were impossible in the past. But this is our changed landscape. And whether you're 18 to 24 or 78 to 84, it's this situation, these things we're thankful for, these things we're troubled by, out of which, this is the soil out of which our prayers grow. And I'm now going to hand over to Liz and Kate for our prayer time.
Okay. As we've gathered in a chapel during the lockdown, we've come to feel more strongly than ever the need to remember to hold in our hearts and in our circle various people and situations, to hold them in our thoughts and prayers. And to help us in this focus, we've started to use this spiral candle holder that we've got here in view. And it's lovely because we can light a tea light during chapel in the morning, and the candle will still be lit hours after we've left chapel, perhaps symbolizing our prayers and the longings that we have for health and healing for so many people and situations. So we're going to spend a bit of time now together naming our concerns and thanksgivings, and we're going to, Kate and Gavin are going to light a candle on our spiral for the different groups and situations mentioned. And thank you to those of you who have sent in specific requests. And as we do pray, hold people in our thoughts now, there will be pauses for you to include your own concerns and thanks in the silence. So let us begin by bringing to mind our own households, family, and friends. And amongst them, we remember Sid Philp, who lost his fight with the coronavirus just last month. So may all those we have brought to mind be blessed with love, healing, and peace. Many gathering with us today are members of the wider Othona community. So Gavin's going to light a candle to represent everyone who feels part of that Othona community. Let us give thanks for the 2 Othona centres in Dorset and in Essex, for all the many good things that have grown out of people's encounters and experiences in those places, and for the deepening sense of a wider spiritual community which many are experiencing now during this time of closed doors. May they all be blessed with love, healing, and peace. It's very good to have members of the local Bride Valley churches join us today as well. Kate's going to light a candle to symbolize people, the local people in the churches round about in this area. And let us give thanks for the growing bonds of faith and companionship which are flourishing in this area in the midst of lockdown. May they all be blessed with love, healing, and peace. And in these tough times, we remember all caregivers and care receivers. And Gavin is lighting a candle as we hold them in our hearts. Particularly those who are struggling today. Those in care homes where the virus has taken hold. We're asked to pray by an Othona member for all children confined to home at this time, and also their parents, who are required to give care and education and also manage family anxieties in this strange time. May they all be blessed with love, healing, and peace. And we light a fifth candle for those carrying burdens. Those who are lonely. Those who are in positions of authority, who must make decisions that will affect the lives of many. Those in prison. Those in abusive relationships. And as we draw our prayer time to a close, may all those that we have mentioned out loud and in our hearts, and all of us gathered round this afternoon, may we all be blessed with love, healing, and peace. Amen.
Amen.
You get a bit more of me now. I have switched my microphone back on, yes. I wanted to start by reading a poem which some of you will have seen in the newsletter sent out this morning. This is by R.S. Thomas. It's called Threshold. I emerge from the mind's cave into the worse darkness outside, where things pass and the Lord is in none of them. I have heard the still small voice, and it was that of the bacteria demolishing my cosmos. I have lingered too long on this threshold, but where can I go? To look back is to lose the soul I was leading upwards towards the light. To look forward. Ah, what balance is needed at the edges of such an abyss. I am alone on the surface of a turning planet. What to do but, like Michelangelo's Adam, put my hand out into unknown space, hoping for the reciprocating touch. That's a poem very much for hard times, isn't it? Little comfort in it. I don't know what experience R.S. Thomas had particularly in mind when he was talking about the bacteria demolishing his cosmos. That could have been an individual's illness, for instance, but we don't know. The positive point at the end is just that image of his hand reaching out into the unknown, hoping for the reciprocating touch of God, of even a human touch, perhaps, which so many of us are missing at the moment. I was speaking earlier about the connectivity that's proving such a blessing in these times. The great networks of connection, including the one that allows us to have you all here with us this afternoon for one more worship. But actually, I think it's the small-scale, intimate connections that we're really learning to recognize and value, sometimes because of their absence. I think of meeting a friend completely by accident while on my daily walk, or of a letter received. I wonder how many of us have received or written letters. Do you remember letters during this time? Not just sound bites. R.S. Thomas was one of the poets most alert to the fact that our civilization in its normal mode is an addictive one, addicted to escapism and distraction. Too many choices, too many voices, too many boxed sets. Can you have too many boxed sets? I don't know, they're pretty good, aren't they? But we wouldn't want to spend all our lives with them. For some of us, mea culpa, yeah, for some of us, far too much simple busyness all the time. The addiction of workaholism. And with all these things, and I'm quoting another poet here, we get pushed to the side of our own lives. Hasn't that been our experience all too often in the normal mode? We neglect our own truths. But Liz read in that opening prayer from John Philip Newell, we open again the inner door of our being. And it seems to me that for many of us, this crisis is offering something really precious. It's offering time and space to do just that, isn't it? To open the inner door of our being. Now that could be explicitly and obviously spiritual practice, perhaps a particular form of meditation, or some holistic practice like yoga or qigong. That's what we're doing all this each morning, Tai Chi exercises together. But there are lots more contemplative activities which many of us are having more space for. I think that might be baking bread. I wonder how many of you are baking bread. Gardening. Sewing scrubs for hospitals. It's one of the things we've been doing here, sewing special bags for them to go in, actually. Walking without hurry, without that sense that you've got to rush on to the next thing. Reviving or maybe learning a musical instrument. I say these things because I find this so challenging myself and so crucial, so appealing and so educative as I come up against the barriers in myself, against taking this opportunity to do those things. And that's always a useful learning curve, to face and understand, excuse me, those barriers. I think we are offered this precious chance to grow in mindfulness, in being really present, not pushed to the side of our own lives. And every great spiritual tradition agrees on the importance of that. Going back to the little song at the beginning, do you remember? To wake and shine and take one day at a time. One day at a time is a well-known mantra within the 12-step fellowships, the various Alcoholics Anonymous and other fellowships helping people with specific addictive problems who've recognized that. But, one day at a time is good for all of us with the addictive patterns of life we've experienced. So, one day at a time, less dwelling on yesterday's sadness or failure or disappointment. Can we do that? Less investing all our hopes in a future, one day at a time, because the future we can't predict. We realize that at the moment, don't we? And we certainly can't control it, but we never could. We really never could. So we inhabit this time, this place, this reality, and thus we open the inner door of our being. we can open it to gratitude, to generosity, to what some of us mean by God. I think I meant to move us on to something else now. Oh, we're going to have a song. Can we have the words of the song on the screen? Oh, we can't. Well, we thought we did, but many of you know the words of this song anyway. May the long-time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide you all the way on. I'm going to sing that through a few times. Again, do join in at home. This song has been a regular song of blessing within the Othona community since the mid-1970s, around the time when I first encountered Othona at Brabble in Essex. And shortly after that, we'll be drawing this part to a close, but there's going to be the chance to stay on and chat. Thank you for being with us. So let us bless each other, all those different faces, the few of us gathered here in the chapel, and the many, how many, Robin, do we know how many are on? 76 of you at the moment. So, may the long-time sun shine upon you, for love surround you, and the pure light within you guide you all the way on. May the long-time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide you all the way on. May the long-time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide you all the way on. May the long-time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide you all the way on. One last time. May the long-time sun shine upon you,